Okay, audio routing tab. I'm not going to turn on the audio right now. I'm going to leave that for a future tutorial. I want to show you the, let's go to the clock. Okay, there's a clock tab and a timer tab. So the clock is for the time zones here. You can, if you have a few people in the group, you can like add a new one and then add the other person's clock here, so you can understand what everybody's time situation is. And this timer is so that everybody can sort of follow a similar beat and time in the performance. So this is duration here. I'll just put like 20 minutes. Click on the metronome and when it sends a OSC message to start everybody's clock. So I just opened up the OSC client panel so you can see that. So when I start it, sends a start message and a pause message. Resume, stop. So everybody who's in my group will get this message and everybody's clock ticks. And these panels are actually kind of a good one to pop open and just leave there while you're doing other things. I'll close that now. Actually, no. I want to show you 20 minutes. I'll get that back. Okay, yeah, there's some other functions in here which determines some beat per minutes between different cities. It will ping the other group that you're with, and it will analyze the latency and then give you a beat per minute down here. We won't go into that more now, but I do want to show how this clock controls a called our score. So if I load a score in here, this is just a JPEG, a long image, PNG. That should work. And when I start this, it just starts a score scrolling, and you can prepare these scores, and everybody sees the events that they have to enter in. If you mark the entrances and exits for instruments and other things. And stop. And go. And in the score panel, you can control like how many pixels per second it's scrolling. Here's the now bar. You can move that over if you want, or you can drop pages in of a PDF or other images, and this will change to pages per second. How much time you want the page to be seen before it turns the page, goes to the next page. Okay, let's go. For this, and what else do we have here? We have the mixer panel. Okay, for the mixer panel, we have video and the audio. For the audio, before I start this mixer, I have to turn on my jack server, and I can't do that or I'll lose the audio for this tutorial, so I'm not going to do that right now. I'll reset it and come back to that later. But we do have video. Here's my FaceTime camera. Of course, I can have other sources here, such as, so this is the siphon video stuff. If I double click here, I can open a bigger window. And I can also put that on another monitor and open full screen up here. I won't do that right now. But that's what you want to do when you put it on a projector and open it at full screen. What you do want to do is, here's simple, like it's here's an example of siphon. It will see any siphon source in these windows. Here's simple server. And this is what we call then a siphon mixer. And this is what we can then broadcast to YouTube, our siphon sources. If you run VDMX or something, it has siphon out. Many applications use siphon. In this bottom row here is where FFmpeg, where peer-to-peer video comes in. And place that is routed there is, here's, you can see the siphon stuff is hooked up here, but this is where you route to your peers the video. Usually use dual. And it runs like the jack audio and jack trip interface, which I'll show you later. This is the P2P video then, and you run it and you'll connect to your peers. Command click on my mixer to show you. And so the P2P stuff shows down here. This is your computer video, your siphon sources. What else? Here is the network tools. So you can see this is the log tab, what's happening with the application. This will give you feedback on your video when you're streaming it to see if you've got any errors or what your bit rate or your frame rate is. And this is the jack trip stuff. You can see here's my last one to Indiana, and yay, we received connection for peer. That's what you want to see. And you can see the OSE client we are running at the moment. You can see it should report every couple seconds. And if I'm running an OSE server, I can view that up here. Okay, let's see. Here's my OSE server, and just running it locally, or if I have a public address, other people can connect to me, my OSE group server. We'll go over that later in more detail. Here's some of the jack audio reports. And there's messages here we can talk about later too. But another interesting thing you want to do is we want to ping people to see if they're available. So say I want to go to Artsmesh.io. And I want to ping that. See what's happening. Oh. Let's see if we can reach on IPv6. Yes. We do have a good IPv6 network at the Conservatory of Music, and we have a bad IPv4 network. Another thing you can do is then trace route. So I have a 224 millisecond delay to our server, which is about 1/5 of a second, and it's kind of long. And we'll definitely talk about that later, because that's a key feature of network music, is playing to the network delay. Let's trace route to the server, see why it's taking it so long. Sorry for bumping the mic. This might take a while. We might not sit around for a while and watch it ping routers along the way to Artsmesh IO. But let's look at a couple of hops. Okay, so we got 2 milliseconds. This is on our campus. 4 milliseconds. It's still local. Here we get to like 96 milliseconds, which is probably trying to get to, well, here's Japan over here. And it's actually getting there in 49 milliseconds, which is about right from Beijing to Japan. Artsmesh IO is on a server in Japan. And it should reach the machine destination. And we won't wait for that to finish. I'll go to iPerf panel. iPerf is testing out bandwidth between 2 clients. And what you do is, we're going to use it on IPv6, and we would open the server, the iPerf server, or you are a client. One is the server, one's a client, and we're testing this port, which is a jack trip port. And again, we'll talk about that stuff later. And if I'm a server, I don't really have to set this as for the client, but I'll set the buffer length to 512, and I'll save, and I'll run the iPerf server here. And I'll wait for a client to connect to me. And there's nobody online now, so we won't do that. We'll show you that later.